today I'm out on my Yamaha RD350 YPVS. Now I've done a couple of things to it, which I'll touch on in a minute. Let's go for a ride, I'll tell you what I've done. Got it off eBay, blah. Now it's not a minter by any stretch of the imagination. It's kind of like, it's alright. It needs a few bits doing to it to make it look a bit more special. So it's kind of like a work in progress. I don't want to throw loads of money at it. I don't need to. It's functional, everything works alright. Apart from the two things I'm about to touch on, which didn't work very well. Now, like I say, it hasn't been rode since 2006. And when I first got on it, the brakes were horrendous, as in they didn't work. I mean, they worked to a fashion, but they were woeful. They were really terrible. The back brake worked better than the front brake for a start off, and you kind of needed to plan ahead to sort of bring the thing to a stop. If anybody was to pull out of a side road in front of you, you've got no chance whatsoever of not hitting them. So it was borderline dangerous, to be honest. So after speaking to a few people, it was concluded that the brakes are awful. It's 1980s technology on these bikes, so I'm used to riding modern bikes, so obviously you get on an old thing like this and it's going to be crap in comparison. The way bikes have come on, obviously, year after year, in this case decade after decade, you're going to expect things to be not as good. Otherwise, there's going to be no progression in the modern bikes, which obviously there is. So I kind of thought, oh, well, maybe that's how they're supposed to be. And I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute. I rode bikes in the 80s. I've been riding bikes since 1981. And I can't ever remember in the 80s, owning a few older bikes, not being able to stop. Ever. I never ever remember that. I mean, whether I forgot about it or whatever. So I kind of looked into it a little bit more and I thought, you know what, because it hasn't been rode since 2006, how old are these brake pads that are in this thing? And how old is the brake fluid? It's probably older than 2006. So the logical thing, without throwing loads of money for like new calipers, and then you've got to faff around because the new calipers won't fit on the brackets, so you've got to like fabricate brackets to fit on whatever calipers you put on. This faffage in it, and I ain't got the know-how and the, you know, all that sort of gubbins to sort of put up with doing all that sort of thing. So I thought, well, let's start with the basics. Let's replace the brake pads. How much that's going to cost you? 30 odd quid, I can't remember now. So anyway, got some new brake pads, and being I'm already outlined, I'm pretty useless at doing these things. I took it to one of my mates, Glenn. Good old Glenn. He's brilliant. He's a builder by trade, and if he watches this video, I'm gonna have to big him up because otherwise he won't do anything more to my bike. But he is good. He's very thorough. He likes things done right. If it ain't done right, it ain't gonna get done. You know what I mean? It's gonna have to be perfect, or he ain't gonna sleep for a week. So anyway, I took my brake pads around to Glenn's. We took the calipers off, give them a good old clean out. There was loads and loads of black horrible grease in one of the I think it's the left hand caliper from memory, or anyway it might have been the right, whatever, it don't really matter. So cleaned it all out with brake cleaner, give them a good old spruce up inside, put the new brake pads in, and lo and behold, it has transformed this bike. It still doesn't stop on a sixpence, but then again, because it's an old bike, I don't expect it to. But it stops, and it stops reasonably well. Good enough for what it is, basically. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a little bit more, blah blah, but it's good enough. So, for the sake of spending 30 odd quid on I haven't even replaced the fluid yet. That's like the next job to do, which might improve it a little bit more. Time will tell on that one. But for the sake, like I just said, of spending 30 odd pounds on some brake pads, very worth it. And the enjoyment of riding this thing is tenfold is tenfold increased. Is that even a phrase? Well, it is now. And the second thing I done to it, I took it for its MOT a while back, and I was told that, well, I didn't really need to be told actually, it was just obvious. The handling was, have you ever seen like them videos, or maybe you've actually drove, sailed, whatever the terminology is for a hovercraft? You know, you sort of like turn them and they just have a will of their own and go sort of wherever they want to go, don't they? It'd got the handling of a hovercraft at best. So again, going down roads like this, I'd see that sign ahead of me saying there's a bend in the road coming, and I'll be slowing down miles away, thinking, oh, am I going to get round this corner all right? Very, very twitchy, very, very wallowy left or right and things like that. So again, ruined my enjoyment of riding the bike. So of course, when I took it to the MOT, this was confirmed by simply pushing down the back of the bike to compress the rear shock, and then letting go of the back of the bike, and instead of the shock springing back up again, it's kind of notching back up, if that makes sense. So you push it down and it sticks, and it sort of like notches back up on it under its own sort of steam after a while. So I'm thinking, that would explain why it's like a hovercraft. So I can't remember the shock. I looked at the brand of the shock that I bought actually before I've done this video, and it's gone completely out of my head. I'll have a look and edit something in with my brilliant editing skills in a bit. But safe to say, I purchased an aftermarket shock, so it wasn't a genuine Yamaha one. I don't think there's many of them, if any, around at the moment, especially new. So I purchased a mid-range. I was told it's like the mid-range. It's not the all singing, all dancing shock. It's kind of a middle of the range one. And I'm thinking, well, you know, it's not a race bike. I just wanted to kind of go around the corner without feel like it wants to kill me. That's all I needed to do. I'm not planning on racing it or anything of that nature. I mean, look, I'm just pottering around. I'm not exactly thrashing the poor little thing. So I paid about 200. I think it's about 250 quid for the shock. And my old mate Glenn, who I've already bigged up a minute ago, he fitted it for me one afternoon in his back garden. And you guessed it, it's transformed the way this thing rides. It just feels a lot more planted going around the corner. If you do get a little bit wiggle on, which I'm not doing now, then it is slightly wavy. You go around the corner at higher speed and you can feel the back's a little bit soft. This is adjustable. I think you have to get one of these sort of like in the box that comes with like one of these sort of like ring spanner looking things that you can use to sort of stiffen it up a little bit. I haven't done anything to it yet. I just took it. Well, I didn't actually get involved with anything. I think I made a reel and put it on Facebook. That was my contribution to fitting the rear shock and the brake pads. But Glenn thought, just put it in as it is out the box, ride it, see what you reckon, and then we can faff around with it a little bit if need be. So yeah, it needs stiffening up a little bit, so that'll be the next job, to give it a little twiddle here and there, see if that improves things. But yeah, overall really pleased with them two mods. So for under £300, and I still owe Glenn a beer for this, so £320, it's money well spent on not silly, well, I nearly said mod, it's not really a mod, is it? It's just like, you know, making sure everything works right. I suppose you could call the rear shock a mod, but whatever. Two things that I put on the bike that have literally transformed the way this thing operates, rides, goes, stops. I've got a few more bits and bobs coming, if the guy ever sends them, because it's been a while. I bought some, I wasn't going to do it, I thought, oh, just kind of like tied it up, mate. I was going to sort the paint out on it, because the paint works a little bit. From a distance, when you've cleaned it, you think, oh, this thing looks mega. And then on the closer inspection, you're like, oh, that bit ain't very good. And you can see it looks like someone's painted that with a brush, and there's a few blisters on the tank. bits and bobs. It just looks a little bit tired here and there on closer inspection. So I thought what I'm going to do, and the same with the wheels as well, they've been painted by a brush and a pot of paint by the looks of it. So at some point in the future, in a hopefully not too distant future, I'm going to get around to doing the paint work on it. And then of course I bought these bloody expansion chambers, didn't I, which haven't turned up yet, so they're going to be fitted. See, I've already started. There's me, look, don't spend too much on it, just get it nice and tidy and make sure everything works as it should and it looks nice and tidy. This bike only comes out now and then. I'm not gonna, it's not the sort of thing I'm gonna ride all the time. It just comes out now and then when it's dry and blah blah blah. Come on, there we go. Oh, you have to rev these things though. You have to rev them to make them go. But once they're on song, they don't go too bad. So yeah, I've fallen into the trap of starting to spend money on it. But you know, it's a hobby, isn't it? So it's not like, oh my god, my bike's broke, I need it to get to work on Monday and it's going to cost me £2 to fix it. Oh my god, what am I going to do? It's just, you know, leave it sitting there over the winter. Oh, I've got a couple of spare quid, a bit of, you know, spare money. Well, saying that, I might have to pay my gas bill instead of buy RD bits, but yeah, I don't want to get into that because I'm in a good mood today and I don't want to start bringing myself down into depression mode again. I'm already just snapped out of one of them. That's yet another story. Oh, slow down. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I'm gonna try and find some quiet little road somewhere. Pardon me. And I'm going to put the Insta360 camera on the side of the road and do a few ride-bys, I think. If they turned out alright and you've got to this stage of the video, I probably would have edited them in by now, so you'd have already seen that. If there's no drive-bys on this video, then I didn't do them very well. But yeah, because I've never done one of those before. So I've got my Insta360 camera on the front now, so we'll see. Oh, she's singing, bless her. I feel really bad thrashing this thing, but it's a two-stroke. You have to rev it apparently. And if you got to the end, then I do appreciate you watching. Please consider, hello, I nodded scooter then, nothing wrong with that, mate. If you got to the end, then please consider subscribing, because I'm only a little tiny channel and I get demotivated all the time, and I know you're like, yeah, just you know, keep going, put videos out, your channel, you'll get like organic growth. I don't expect it to fly. I'm never going to be like a YouTuber as such. I do find it an enjoyable hobby, filming my little ride outs and things. So with every few subscribers I get, I think, oh yeah, I got a few more subscribers, do another video. So it kind of spurs me on a little bit. Perhaps I shouldn't have said that, because I'm thinking, you know what, mate, I don't need to see you clogging up my YouTube feed every 5 minutes, because you just waffle crap for hours on end and you don't actually give us any meaningful information. I'll get that, but you know, be yourself, they said. If people watch, they watch. If they don't, they don't. So I am being myself. This is me. I am sorry. Oh, gravel there. Look, don't fall off. Right. See if we can stop up here. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.